Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
And welcome. We're recording for the first time. Wasn't speaking at all before this. To episode 115 of Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast where we debate business topics, both sober and drunk, to see if we come to the same conclusions. This week, I am here with Tyler.
Just like most weeks.
Just like 115 other weeks. And
we've officially been canceled.
Woo! Just before Tyler walked in.
But like 75 episodes ago canceled.
Just before Tyler walked in, I received an email that one of our episodes on YouTube has been taken down and my account been given a warning.
Yeah.
For, and I quote, spreading widely known misinformation that widespread glitches, errors, or hacks were responsible for the election, of or Joe Biden, the election was. I said, and I quote, and then just started making shit up. But that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Is that we were perpetuating the lie that the election was stolen by glitches in automatic voting software.
Yeah, basically. YouTube doesn't want to get hit by that Dominion voting machine
lawsuit
or lawyer team.
Yeah.
At this point, but
so maybe that I don't want to speculate whether that's, but okay, so watch this get taken down now because we're talking about it. But so I went through the clips that they're talking about, and Tyler was here. You can vouch for this. We were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it again because I don't want to get fucking banned again, but I said, you're like, oh, the Olin say election A. And I said, oh yeah, no, I do believe that, sarcastically.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes go by. What was the second thing I said? Oh, we were talking about how the Alitz Bay were found in the Ugday Ealer Days RKs. And
you're not bad at that.
Igpay Attenley?
Yeah. Igpay Attenley.
Angsthay.
Salente Exe.
Grazie. But we were talking about that, and our tones of voice, both of us were being sarcastic, you can tell. But evidently, so I sent in an appeal, and the YouTubers that I do watch, whenever they get strikes on their videos, on Twitter or whatever, they post hey guys, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
They always get a timestamp of what the problem was. I didn't even get that. It just took down the entire 2-hour episode. We were doing longer episodes back then. This is episode 49, if anyone's interested. You can probably still find it on Spotify, Apple Music, and everything else, if it's still down. But I sent in an appeal being quoting those timestamps and then being come on, I was obviously being sarcastic. And then we spent the next 10 minutes after that part shitting on Republicans.
Yeah.
So come on. But what are the odds it's a robot that just detected what I was saying?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think if I can appeal and at least get a human, I'll even take the episode down, but I don't want to strike on my account.
Right, exactly.
I'll do that trade. I'll take that trade.
Yeah. Yeah, don't take the points on my license, but I'll pay the fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, honestly. Just it was satirical, whatever. It's haha funny, but it's also not haha funny at all because it's fuck, if you have a contrarian opinion to the narrative, you get real world penalty for it. And this is obviously not a new debate or discussion, but it's
no,
fuck, that's problematic.
But I watch a fair amount of YouTubers, and a lot of them make a living off of YouTube.
Yeah.
And how scary is it if you just woke up and you can't make a living anymore?
Yeah.
Because the platform that you're on decides that you can't.
Yeah.
Right? They I'm not really a big fan, but they banned Steve Will Do It off of YouTube completely, to the point where if his friends, the Nelk boys, make videos and they have Steve in the videos, that video gets taken down immediately. And they're now threatening to ban Nelk if Steve's in a video.
So what's Steve's deal? I don't know anything about this fucking guy.
he's kind of like he's a party. I think he got famous because he can like chug a 2.6 of vodka in like 5 seconds.
Right.
So like he does that. He does these kind of like party videos.
Wonderful.
But now he's like big.
Right.
So he's like goes to the gym and he does drugs, and that's just kind of his shtick.
Nice.
I don't watch his content, so I don't know. But I see it on TikTok every so often. I think he's kind of like a masculine, kind of Andrew Tate kind of type
Right.
guy. But and sorry if you're a fan and I'm mischaracterizing him, but that's my kind of not opinion, but like just what I see.
Your impression.
Right? My impression. Thank you. So what happened was he interviewed Trump.
Okay.
He got Trump in a fucking room. I don't know how that happened.
Brilliant.
He
I'm
interviewed.
gonna say that kind of tracks for the kind of people that Trump be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll talk to
Go
you.
on the Nelk boys.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And like Steve bought him a Rolex, like
Yeah.
a presidential Rolex. And then when they met, he took a picture with him, put that picture on a shirt, and then sold the shirt and sold like $250,000 worth of shirts.
Right.
And Trump, all he says is, "Where's my cut then?" Say what you want. I fucking love Trump's funny. But anyway, allegedly, all that Steve Will Do It got banned for was supporting Donald Trump. He didn't perpetuate any of the. Maybe he did. Again, I don't watch his content. This is just what I heard. I read an article about it one time when it happened because I'm like, oh, that's interesting that they like. Because I know YouTube removes people from their platform, but seems like if anyone else mentions them, we're fucking flagging your videos now. It's like
Right.
okay. So I kind of looked into it. This is years ago, but as far as I know, he like didn't do any of the misinformation thing. He was just like, oh yeah, Biden sucks, Trump's good, and they banned him for that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which seems like that's an interesting.
That's very problematic.
Yeah, because like, is like Ben Shapiro banned from YouTube, or did he just choose to leave? I think he's banned as well.
He's probably banned. I mean,
But, like-
the guy talks a lot of shit. That kind of makes sense.
But like,
But he's got a big platform already. He's got the Daily Wire. And all
yeah,
that,
but like
so.
Ben Shapiro, I don't think really does conspiracy theories. He's not like Alex Jones. Like, sure, he's like, yeah, Israel isn't committing a genocide. That's a conspiracy theory. Wait,
fair.
but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Shapiro just is a right wing talking head. I think he may have. I can see him wading into some shit that would have been flagged.
yeah, it's interesting that you can. Yeah, but I guess like. Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
For perspective, like I always like to both sides these things. So the right can complain about getting censored off of shit like YouTube, fair, on Twitter, whatever. Like these public
Previously
spaces
Twitter.
and town halls, right? Previously Twitter, and it's like, okay, well, only the right is persecuted.
Yeah.
And I listened to a pretty compelling interview this morning from I guess second generation person that experienced this fucking tragedy in I think it was Philly. Yeah, I think it's. I don't know why I'm forgetting this blanket.
Pittsburgh.
Anyways, it's near New York.
Oh, so like North
Not-
Dakota.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, fucking city doesn't matter that much because, I mean, ACAB. But, so this guy was born to one of the people that was in this catastrophe. So it was a house that was being occupied. I mean, they had their own issues, whatever. That was being occupied by like a Black Power movement. And they got evicted by the city. It refused to leave. So, cops just kept upping the ante to like try to remove these people. And they were like dug in, like militarily bunkered down, like not defensively. They didn't have any like offensive weapons or anything. So of course the police hook up like fire hoses and try to flood them out of the house. They don't leave. They open up their fucking machine guns on the house and just blow the shit out of it. People still don't leave. So they get an incendiary bomb,
As one does.
take it up in the police helicopter.
Totally normal things for police to have,
This
by the
is
way.
in a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
Take it up in a helicopter, drop the fucking firebomb on the house, and kill everyone.
Is that when they burn down like half the neighborhood?
And they burn down the whole fucking block.
Wasn't that Chicago?
No, it's not Chicago.
Okay.
I don't know, big city, whatever. Like I said, I don't know why I'm blanking on this for some fucking reason. There's always one thing I forget. But creme de la creme of this whole thing, they dropped the firebomb. some of the kids run out. They shoot the kids.
As one does.
Throw them in the fire.
Well, they could have been like little terrorists.
Yeah, they could have bombs on their chest. You don't know.
See, now I'm like trying to be careful. Now I'm like second guessing myself when I'm sarcastic.
Fuck them. But anyways, so the one of the survivors of this, she was pregnant and went to jail pregnant and managed to have her kid in prison, and that kid just bought that house back or that property back because they bulldozed the house, eminent domained it, turned it into a police substation as like an extra fuck you, I guess. And then they sold it to a developer sold it to a family. And that family hasn't had a single year of peace and fucking quiet because every year there's like memorials and marches and stuff like at this property, and they're like, there's always reporters here. They're like, fuck this, we don't want to live here anymore. So they're selling back to this kid. And so he was like fundraising to pay for the property and like make some kind of public. He doesn't want to live there. He like wants to make some kind of public use out of it. So yeah, he was like fundraising for that. I'm like, holy shit. And that's like, that was in the 70s, I think. Like, it was not long
I know
ago.
the story you're talking about.
This is not distant memory, and it gets dredged up every once in a while, but, like, you can go very, very recent, current, actually, of, like, left-wing protesters that are sitting, Torquato Testa at the Atlanta Defend the Forest protest. He's literally sitting in his tent, cross-legged with his arms up, and he gets shot 18 times. Like, that's what happens to left-wing defectors. Right-wing defectors get banned off of YouTube.
Well, so here's what I'll say too. We've seen somebody try to make like a communist meme page.
Right.
And as soon as it hits like 1,000 followers on Instagram, it gets taken down.
Right. It gets either taken down or just nerfed.
For like no reason.
Right.
Like no explicit reason.
There's no flag, it's just down.
Yeah, but the reason is because it's communist.
Right.
Right. So it's like
can't have that in here.
It's just because the right wing people arguing that
it wasn't even communist per se, like it was just criticism of capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't even explicitly communist. It was like
deliberately.
Yeah, it was deliberately it was pro-left ideas.
Yeah, without ever using the word communism.
Right. That was like a
and it got taken down like 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's just like because what the conservatives think is left is still far right. Right? Like
they think liberals are
communists
are the opposite, right?
Yeah,
they think liberals are communists, exactly, but they're just center right capitalists typically.
Yeah, well, far right, I'd say. Like,
I mean, it depends on the liberal, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I don't know.
They contain multitudes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No,
anyone who doesn't want to violently dismantle capitalism is a fascist, is far right, or fascist enabling.
And banned.
It's true. What do you want from me? Read some theory.
Speaking of fascist enabling, or good old boy Trumpy boy, just he called in to a
DONALD Donald Trump.
Yes. Trump. He called into this conference where they have like they had QAnon reps, they had like people from all these fucking.
They had
what?
QAnon himself.
Yeah.
They had the hacker known as 4chan.
Yes, the hacker known as 4chan next to his buddy Discord.
And they were sowing discord.
But yeah, the last minute change to the speakers lineup was like 2 literal Nazis. And so I don't know why they removed them, but they were initially on the list. So he calls into like this conference and is like, I'm bringing back Michael Flynn. He's like, he's just saying all this shit. And it's like, it doesn't even make the fucking news. It's like, all right, I guess, I mean, the fact that he endorses that, it's like, okay, whatever.
At this point,
it is what it is. Like, I mean, you have Crowder. I think it's Crowder had on one of his social media profiles just explicitly theocratic fascist was like what he self-identifies as. Was
that before or after he was forcing his 9-month pregnant wife to go to the store for him while he was sitting a cigar in his backyard?
Before. And it was worse than that. Have you seen the video? Listen to it?
I saw clips of it. I didn't watch. I couldn't
I watched the whole thing.
I didn't want to stomach it.
I actually watched it with my girlfriend, who's
It was disgusting.
a therapist, and she was like, "What the fuck are we watching? Who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's like a conservative influencer. Like he's like Trump loves this guy. Like this is none of this is surprising. The fact that he treats
guy,
his wife like this is entirely consistent with who he is.
You gotta say he was the guy that in the "change my mind" meme. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a Canadian.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I mean, the guy's objectively successful. Everyone knows his fucking name, but
Louder with Crowder.
yeah,
I never liked him.
good.
I get some perverse enjoyment out of like Ben Shapiro and like Andrew Tate and
Jordan
Peterson, but I get no perverse entertainment out of Steven Crowder.
None at all.
I think he's
not even ironic comedic value.
I think he's dumb and boring. Him and Tim Pool too. I never got into their content.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Anyway, on that note, let's talk about business. So, the business of lemons farming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how a sentence and I just see where it goes.
I could tell. Yeah.
I don't know. So, like, I guess case in point, or not case in point, but like thesis or not thesis, but like to round up what I was talking about, like, is it set aside morals for a second? How is it different that YouTube bans my video than like refusing to make a cake for a gay baker or whatever?
Yeah, that's always a good one to go for. I mean,
it's like the business can choose to do business with who they want.
Right. It's the problem is when if you're the only baker.
Well, you could just upload to Rumble.
Right. Sure. There's another baker, but he's 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Like that's where it kind of gets a little bit iffy, and like you gotta see that like Alphabet, the Google products, the Google suite of products, YouTube, they are closer to being a public utility than they are a private company. They just have total hegemony over the space. So it's like, should they be treated differently? I mean, historically, the state has always treated monopolies differently than they treat other companies, and
I guess
that's the way they're supposed to.
Should the state cut off someone's water if they're a Nazi? I
think the fact that they cut. I'm gonna say that the state does not do that because of political reasons. It's like because
they don't want to cut off their own water.
I mean, look at the reason they tried to cut off your water was
we owed them 87 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that better or worse? Like, come on. I feel like that's kind of dumb and trivial.
Well, if the U.S. Senate voted to like turn off Nazis' water, then their wives would be calling them, being like, "Why is our water cut off?"
Right.
Got them.
At least half of them. Then they just have to live at the cafeteria.
Yeah, I don't really like live at their mistress's house, right? I don't really get. I don't know. I guess I see both sides of the argument where it's like a platform shouldn't ban anybody, but then also like free market, they should be able to ban anyone. But then I find both sides are making the argument that is hypocritical to the rest of their views.
Yeah.
Where like the conservatives are making the argument that they can't, it's unjust for YouTube to ban them. But then it's like they think the gay baker should not make a cake for straight people.
And they're actively banning books out of schools.
That's, great example.
And that's very current.
Yeah. But then I think there's liberals on the opposite that are like, well, you can't ban free speech. But meanwhile, they want to restrict, like, add into hate speech or restrict,
Yeah, there's
penalize for mispronouncing people.
There's a Florida teacher right now who's been suspended and is being investigated by the state commission that DeSantis put in place because she played a Disney movie that had a lot of content about.
I thought it was just a gay character in it.
Yeah, it had. She did it for plants and ecosystems, is what she put on the movie for, because it had a lot of that sort of content in it.
Gay plants.
And it had a single character in the film that was gay, and one of her kids' parents was a school board member, and the kid's like, "Hey, we watched this movie," and the parents like reported her. Now she's suspended. Like, it's a Disney. It's a children's G-rated Disney
but like
film.
Disney went woke, and now they're going broke.
Well, actually, they're clapping back at the state, and they're winning so far.
No.
So
No, they're going broke.
okay,
They're gonna have bad quarter.
pull up the stock price.
I've been arguing with a lot of people on my stock trading Twitter. Follow for finance tips and real business numbers at Drunk Dividends. But I've been arguing with people about people think this Anheuser-Busch boycott is working.
And the Miller as well, apparently.
If you Google a beer, they've had like most of them have had pride campaigns.
Yeah.
Miller, I think that they were probably Sab Miller at the time. Are they Sab Miller? I always get that mixed up. Molson and they like everyone has had fucking. I saw someone do a compilation of like, oh, if you're gonna not drink gay beer, you got a lot more to fucking pick. Or
You're literally gonna have to buy local craft beer, which is all pro-gay.
Yeah, and what was it
Ruh-roh.
like? Someone was like, well, just drink fucking like Youngling or whatever.
Just drink Black Rifle coffee. Just support the fascists. It's
like
good.
Youngling like is owned by a gay man or something, and
Right.
like I think it's like everything is gay. Wait, and
Oh no.
yeah, no, and people really, really misjudge just how big Anheuser-Busch is.
Right. Now they're
Like,
finding out.
And remember, America's only like 20% of their sales.
Right.
Like they own 100% of beverages produced in like Brazil,
Yeah.
non-alcoholic and alcoholic.
Right.
They just bought every soda company because they don't have monopoly laws in Brazil. So they just bought everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
they can.
Bolsonaro fucking loves monopolies.
Like Anheuser-Busch is one of the largest, if not the largest, beverage company in the world. I know they were at talks at one point to merge with Coca-Cola.
Just to buy them, yeah.
Or to buy them, or because that's how big they are.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're like, you think you're going to make a fucking difference. And then there's all these fake articles being like, oh, they're like, it's getting fucking dumped. They can't give it away for free to people. It's like, no, that's not true. Like,
No, but
as someone who works in the industry, no one gives a shit.
yeah.
Like,
And then what are they buying?
probably something from the same brand.
Yeah, from the same company, yeah.
Someone on Twitter that ended up blocking me after this was like, now when I go to Costco, because they're in America, so they're like, well, now when I go to Costco, I buy fucking Mexican beer because all the American beer brands are woke. And I look up all the Mexican beer listed with Costco, and they're all owned by fucking Anheuser-Busch. Like,
Yeah, it's a Mexican brand. Like
like
is Modelo AB InBev, or are
so
they independent?
Modelo has like I think it's Modelo.
Modelo is Corona for you people that don't know.
No, they're different beers.
Modelo owns Corona.
Yeah, so
Modelo is also a beer.
So I'm pretty sure if I have this correct, Anheuser-Busch owns Modelo everywhere except the United States
Okay.
because competition law. But then they own the sole distribution rights for that product in America.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like they basically own them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're buying beer, you're paying for
It's
the gay ads. I'm sorry.
It's probably Anheuser-Busch. Also, I don't want to reiterate of a couple episodes ago when we talked about this, but it wasn't even an ad.
Yeah.
It was just a fucking influencer they had on payroll, which they had thousands of. Or not even on payroll. They sent them beer.
Yeah.
So
World-ending shit.
whatever. I don't care. The whole woke thing, like anyone who cares either way is dumb, right?
I think we've discussed it before, but like the DeSantis camp definition of woke is just everything you need to know about the movement. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Read it, and if you feel like that definition of woke really describes your
worldview,
yeah, then you just go right on ahead. Just keep on believing.
I saw an interesting. So people have been. I think Elon even tweeted this. There's been like Gen Z is like 40% more self-identifying as LGBT
40% more than before.
than like previous generations.
Yeah,
which is a huge, massive jump.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Cause also, some idiot will be like 40% of Gen Z.
Well, I think it is like half of Gen Z now is identifying as
40% of or 40% increase.
40% increase. So like from like 10% of people
to 14
in our generation identifying as LGBT, now it's like 50%.
That's not a 40% increase. That's a 500% increase. 40% would go from 10 to 14%.
Okay, so I'll just tell the story, and you can look up the numbers for yourselves.
I don't want to.
So there's been a massive increase.
Sure.
Whichever way you spin it, there's been a massive increase. And people have been perpetuating the idea that maybe that's because teachers are teaching to be gay now or whatever, right? Like the frog water, whatever.
Right.
People are being influenced to be gay. And
combination thereof.
So I saw on a podcast some clip where this guy takes out a chart, and at a certain within a 20-year period, people with that were left-handed went up by around the same amount that now Gen Z gay people have gone up. And you look at that and they're like, okay, was there just something in the water that was making people left-handed? And he says, no. Previous to this, the Catholic Church's like official position was that people that were left-handed were more in tune with like demons.
Right.
And the year it started,
which was progressive from the previous policy of just executing them.
And apparently the year they changed their policy on that and said, no, we were wrong about that. That was the year it started, left-handed started spiking.
Right.
So
of course, came out the closet.
Now that being LGBT is more
Mom,
accepted,
Dad,
the same amount
I'm
of
left-handed.
The same amount of bisexual people exist, but they're not repressing it anymore.
Right, they're not
because they're not going to get excommunicated by the church for being left-handed.
Yeah, and it's just
so I thought that was
it's straight up hostile to be not straight in a lot of places. I mean, there's, you hear stories even currently of people in, some, even in the States, some cities, some townships where if you're known to be like the local gay guy, you just get fucking rocks thrown at you by people driving by. Like it's not passed, but it's socially more acceptable, and you're going to get a lot more support than you would have 10 years ago. Like me personally, even my whatever progression through what I've understood about that whole movement has changed dramatically over the last couple of years. And I think just kind of as a society, a lot has fucking changed with that, a whole younger generation coming up on social media, and a younger generation of like not being afraid to live their life out loud. And, it used to be you put together and you just put forward a very polished image of yourself onto social media, right? That's kind of gone by the wayside, and everything became more candid. Now it's becoming like people are just straight up fucking completely
psychotic,
like vulnerable, and well, yeah, there's the psychotic, but like just really open and vulnerable publicly, and it's becoming okay to be like that. It used to be like, don't let anyone know that you have family problems, because nobody has family problems.
The shit people send me on Snapchat,
right,
would kill a Victorian child.
Yeah, it's like the generational gap, for example. So my girlfriend's mom, she loses her mind if she finds out that we've talked about like family drama to a friend, like a close and personal friend. And she's like, why would you say that? They're going to think we're crazy. It's like,
you are crazy, number one.
Yeah, number one, it's true. Number two, like, what do you think we talk about? Like, am I just going to, like, lie about my life to my best friend? Like, is that what we're supposed to do? She's like, well, that's what, we do. And I'm like, well, that's why you don't have any, like, close and intimate friends that you have, interesting conversations with. Because if you never talk about that shit, you can't have relationships with human beings. And that's just, I think that's just another part of it. And with schools, like, I think I've now run into 3 or is it 4 people through dating apps that were I specifically try to like make these interactions happen because I think it's great and also hilarious.
It's your foreplay. I don't
Yeah.
even know what you're about to say.
No,
but-
I've found I think 3 or 4 guys that were in my like not even like distant friends, like immediate or like secondary circle of friends in like church groups and Bible camp and high school that are like all out and gay now. And it's like that's like you kind of knew it's like that guy's probably gay, but he was just like never a thing until like, and I talked to like all of them and they're like, oh yeah, it's been like last year or 2 years ago or whatever. It's like they're like, I've been gay since I was a little kid. Like I've known since I was 3, but I didn't come out until like I was 26.
Did you see that?
Like that's
these
just...
like pranks where they play the grinder sound effects.
Oh yeah,
in front of people just to see who turns.
Yeah.
And then I saw
Brilliant.
the compilation of the guy doing it, like at work and stuff. And then he does it to his dad, and his dad's like checks his phone, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And it cuts like mid him being like, "What?"
I love those just fucking hard cuts.
Yeah.
Or the best one I've heard is the Uber driver's like, "Oh, my husband plays that game."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors, and just to say it's because of education is a fucking farce, because you know how hard it is to be a teacher. They're not like slipping the LGBT agenda. Like there maybe is a few exceptions of teachers that will like implement it like in a lesson and they'll talk about it.
You know what they are slipping in?
Good moral lessons. Oh, these shots?
Yeah.
Shots.
Let's-
Yeah,
they're slipping in shots
yeah.
because we're transitioning here to the part of the show that you call shot caller, the part of the show where you can take a shot at home and follow us along. But it's actually the part of the show where you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. This week's episode sponsored as always by Old Smoky Tennessee Mountain Whiskey.
Woo!
We're shooting their salted caramel whiskey variety. Old Smoky. The mountains taste like gold. Visit us at oldsmokywhiskey.ca.
That was really good, actually.
Thanks.
The mountains taste like gold. Is that real?
I don't think so. I just made that up.
Very applicable for this salty caramel.
Because it tastes like gold.
Gold. Yes. I saw a pretty funny clip of a teacher being interviewed. I follow this reporter, and Walter Masterson, I think. He's like a comedian / journalist, and he goes to like protests and stuff like that, and just like through questioning makes people look really stupid, and especially like anti-abortion protests, whatever. Be like, oh, so, and then he'll like ask them like 3 questions in, they'll be cornered, and they'll have hit their logic loop, and we'll just stop and realize what's happening. They'll like, get the fuck out of my face and get super mad.
Is that where it was like he goes to the anti-abortion thing and he's like, well, here I have a form for you to adopt a kid.
Right.
Yeah. Is that the same guy?
Yeah. Or the do you support the death or like the death penalty debate, whatever. Like he's got like his canned questions, and they're usually really funny. But yeah, he was interviewing a teacher, and was like, so he's like, so I think he's like, you as a teacher, you have a very hard job, and I think it's very important that we pass laws that so you can carry a weapon in school all day to protect yourself and to protect your kids. And the teacher's like, I just want more fucking money for books, because he's like, we're using like 8-year-old textbooks. He's like, a pizza party would be nice. Like we don't need. I can't. That's one more thing, man. He's like, I don't need a fucking holster on me. Like,
wait, you know what's funny?
the teacher's like, no, please.
They're gonna make you pay for the holster.
Almost certainly. Like
I didn't think about that. That's
they
funny.
were. You would have to buy your own gun and all that.
That's
but
like in.
I think they were offering free training. But that was it.
In Shawshank Redemption, where he was like, the prison guards like, they gave me a gun, but they made me buy my own damn holster. And then what's his name's like, that's a tax write-off and whatever. That just made me think of that, where the fucking teacher can't afford to buy a holster because they're buying their own
They
school
just have it
supplies.
loose in a drawer.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
It's like,
tucked into the back of
yeah,
their pants.
that's funny.
But yeah, like these states where they're like, oh, we're offering training for teachers so they can handle firearms and whatever these situations. Literally, it's like 90 minutes on a gun range to teach them how not to shoot themselves in the foot and how to load their gun and whatever and clean it. I don't think it's even clean it. It's just like literally how to load your gun, not kill yourself. And like when I was like 11, I did more shooting than that every month. And I still didn't know what I was doing at the end of like a year of doing that. Because, I mean, it's just hitting the target's one thing. Being competent with the tool is one thing. And then learning about all the, outside of shooting, how do you handle this fucking thing? And then also, on top of that, in what situations is it appropriate to use? And now, let's train with you fucking high on adrenaline, children running everywhere, people screaming, and a thing comes through the door that you've never seen before, a situation that you don't even understand. And now you have to make the right decision in the right moment and use your tool competently and don't fuck up and aim 2 feet to the left and it goes through a window and kills somebody else.
Isn't statistically as well the school shooter is usually a child or at least like a young person?
Yeah, it's
so like
statistically a young person.
Also going to be shooting at a child. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's so many layers to this. It's like, what are you asking, teacher? This is not the solution.
Do you think
obviously?
So here I'll try to spin this into a business topic. Do you think
teacher holsters
education the way it is going away? Are you sure? I don't know about that. I think it
is crucial to state power. It's not going anywhere.
That's a good answer. But
it's critical.
Yeah. So
you cannot have a society without a school system. Like that's why it exists.
I just think like you wouldn't get away. But like look how we did education over COVID. And it
didn't go well.
Yeah, but it's still education. How we do it now doesn't go well.
Well, it went worse.
It still works. But I wonder if there's like a different system because bear with me here. The conservatives are afraid of their kids getting taught woke stuff.
Right.
The liberals are afraid of their kids dying in school. Like, nobody likes this experience anymore.
Well, what's being proposed, here's where it's going, resegregating schools.
Into
political camps.
School shooters and liberal cucks.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's just the shooter school and then the liberals. Occasionally liberals do shoot up schools. It's like...
I don't think so.
Wait. It's a percentage.
Yeah, like that trans
it's the
shooter that we just never heard any more about.
Yeah.
I think that was a psyop.
Everything's a psyop.
I'm pretty sure someone like photoshopped a picture of them, like found a picture of them in a dress. It was like, this is a trans person now.
No, it was a trans person. From what I understand, it is actually a trans person. Like that part's not a psyop. It just this person had like legitimate grievances with his fucking school, and it was like a trans person from a Catholic school. Do the math. Like, okay, yeah, they're just getting even.
I was about to make a Sandy Hook joke, like sarcastically.
Yeah.
But we almost got banned apparently, so I'm not going to.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's self-censorship.
I was going to be like, oh well, no school shootings are EORA, and then I was going to be like, oh, what are we going to do if we get removed off YouTube? We can go to fucking.
We'll go to Rumble.
What is it called? Alex Jones' thing? Infowars?
Yes. I would love
We
that.
can go over there.
I would love that.
Me too. I don't think they'd let us.
No, I what I believe is this is actually in the works is resegregation of schools. And the way that it's being pitched is basically schools that have would be allowed to, I guess it's kind of like it would be like private schools. They're basically trying to get like far right or Christian nationalist private schools publicly funded.
I think that's
like
fine.
fully funded, and like it's a lot of people are like, yeah, that's fine. Like whatever, put your kids in whatever ideological camp that you want, which is like okay, it's fine, but also it's, I mean, you're adding a level of segregation to society that wasn't there previously, so the impact is not nothing. So I don't know if it's super evil or not, but Will is having an aneurysm into the camera.
Now I'm going to slowly zoom in on my face with composite shots of Hitler Youth while you're talking.
Composite shots of me.
Well, because like the
Whoops.
only people that can homeschool their children realistically is
Or private school.
is rich people.
Yeah.
Public school has become glorified daycare,
Well,
state-funded daycare,
Right.
because kids
especially-
don't learn anything.
Yeah, especially the food programs. Like one of the biggest impacts of COVID was that the child hunger rate went through the fucking roof because it's a staggering number. It's like near 20% of kids under the age of 12 get their like only meal every day from school.
I don't get it. Like in my school, people just brought lunches.
We live in a pretty good place. Our food assistance programs here are pretty good. Like our child, the fact that we have a child tax benefit, or like just you get a check or deposit in your account every single month for every kid you have if you don't make enough money.
Yeah.
That's a novel that U.S. doesn't have that.
Really?
No.
Oh.
They had it for a short period of time during COVID, and then they kiboshed that shit as fast as they could. The only thing that they have that's close is they have a nutritional supplement like food stamp program.
Yeah.
Which the Republicans are trying to slash down to almost nothing right now. Here's my favorite. Here's a fun business topic. Sort of U.S. debt ceiling.
Yeah.
What have you heard about the recent debate?
June 1st, they're going over the ceiling of this spending, and then they don't have any more money.
Where they're not authorized to raise their debt and pay bills.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Dum-dums?
Why?
Because dum-dums. Why can't you just keep raising? Who would just take a bunch of debt and then raise their debt? Who would do that?
Why is there a debt ceiling?
Like a credit limit?
Why? Why is there a self-imposed credit limit?
Why do I have a credit limit?
They've already approved the spending.
Checks and balances, right?
No.
I don't know.
It's imposed by the same body that also approves the spending. They'd be like, I have a credit limit.
Yeah.
I have to manually increase my credit limit for when I want to spend more money. But instead of having just like a floating line of credit, you're literally just adding more clerical work for yourself. It started in the early 1900s.
Yeah, but those are jobs.
It's not though. Like it's literally just a thing that used to be a rubber stamp process, and then it turned into this fucking.
Well, how about they pay some of their
gong
debt
show.
down, and then they can take more money?
So that's the thing, though. Like
That's what my business has
That's a
to do.
budget negotiation.
Yeah.
Raising the debt ceiling or not has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
They've already approved the spending. Like it's already been debated. It's already been passed. The voters have spoken. The Congress has spoken. It's finished. They've chosen what their budget is. They've chosen how much taxes they're taking in. They've chosen how much they're going to spend. That's already done. They just additionally have to raise the debt ceiling because reasons.
So what? It's just
It's literally a clerical like rubber stamp process.
yeah, but like, so what? What's your point?
It's for one, it's fucking stupid. But like, right now the Republicans are basically holding it hostage, saying you have to slash spending.
They should.
And
You should slash it to nothing.
right, so my favorite one is they want to slash Medicare funding or Medicaid. Sorry.
They're funding Medicaid.
Yes.
Oh,
So
could have fooled me.
fair. So they're putting in work requirements for Medicaid. That's one of their red line issues. And this means like Mima in the care home who's 94 and a half years old is going to have to work a certain number of hours. Like she's going to have to go get a job and work a certain number of hours or she's going to lose her health benefits.
Well, I think your 94-year-old Mima should get a fucking side hustle.
she should start drop shipping.
She should start drop shipping and selling fucking branded coffee mugs. She's in the fucking Shady Hills care home. Get some fucking Shady Hills merch and fucking sell it to the people at the care home. Whoa, what's that? You don't own the logo and the name and you get cease and desisted by the care home? Tell them you have dementia.
They put you out on your ass.
They put you out on your ass? Go on welfare. You can't go to welfare because you don't have a job?
Literally. Yeah. No.
Guess you're done, Mima.
Yeah. Guess you're fucked. Yeah, the cuts are just absurd because like if you look at the debt limit and the debt in general, it's everyone they fucking contribute to it every time they vote on a budget or they vote on tax cuts, whatever. It's like it's who cares? Who cares about the debt? Just rack that shit. Rack it up.
Rack them up, rack them up, rack them up.
Yeah, there's $30 trillion of treasury bonds out there. It's like the basis of the world economy. Like, why not?
Yeah,
just
typically,
print
like,
more?
when you think of, no, money doesn't exist, so I don't care.
Exactly.
I guess, but, like, my point would be, if they can just do it, then I should be able to do it, too.
You can.
No, I have a credit limit.
Well, you don't have the right phone numbers is the problem.
Yeah, so that should be in the bill. They have to give me the phone numbers.
just Willows.
Just me and like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Charlie Sheen.
I think they have those numbers.
The guy that manages the Tim Hortons down the street.
Why?
He deserves it, I think. He's probably a hard worker.
Yep, definitely. Are you dying or something?
Huh?
You're fucking sniffling into the microphone and your eyes are watering and you look like you're dying.
I just ate a hot chip.
What?
What?
We ate that last week. He's still feeling it.
No, my time is, I was losing hours, now I'm losing days.
Yeah, I can see that. So, God, there's so many things I want to talk about that we just can't.
1 or 2 more weeks, and then we can talk about it all.
Okay. I spent 2 hours today working on helping your business for no pay, and
Have you tried
you're welcome.
getting smarter to not be manipulated by me?
Yeah, I'm not doing this for you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing this for my own ego.
So I have no sympathy for you, and the listener should.
No, but I'm gonna get paid.
Huh?
I'm gonna hold your company hostage.
Good luck. Get in line. I have fucking general security agreements with 9 banks.
Yeah, right. Then they become the problem. Yeah, I think there's been like a precipitous drop off in just overall business in like construction renovations, especially development. Like it's more so from the really high end, and it's just having a downward squeeze on everybody. It's not so much in residential that we're feeling it, but it squeezes everybody down. Like there's a number of projects that in our city right now that are just frozen, like mid-construction phase. They're like just skeletons of buildings, and they just stopped. And like some of the development companies have just walked away.
And this is mainly because of interest rates?
Just because of interest rates.
Yeah. Explain why
Because it's
an
just
interest rate would make a developer stop building a house.
because when you're talking about that much money, an interest rate could mean you go from a profitable venture to one that is in the negative dollars every month. At least for like in the window of time in which you have to provide a return on the money that you have. So if within 5 years you can't return your investment and you're still going to be in the hole and you got to extend another 7 years, whatever, or hope and pray that interest rates go down, then you're not going to get into that. Like you're not going to sign that mortgage at this rate. You're going to wait. You're going to sit on your cash because losing or the loss by inflation or whatever. You just put your fucking cash in a stock market or whatever, or like in bonds to peg inflation, and just don't lose your money. So, yeah, they're just walking away, and some of them are just cutting their losses, walking away from like the sunk costs of their projects, and saying fuck it. And that's and there's a number of like multifamily developments that we were supposed to quote, and I asked the developers, I'm like, hey, when is this supposed to happen? He's like, oh, he's like, we've actually scaled that down. We're not building that anymore, whatever. We're just going to sit on the land for a while. And it's a definite palatable holding pattern. So, yeah, that's been something that's...
But this is the same time that our government is increasing immigration rates. Do you think this is going to become a problem where we're not going to have enough housing?
not in our city.
Sure.
but it will be affordable. It's not about housing shortages, it's about affordable housing.
Well, there is no affordable housing.
Right. So that's the problem. Our wages compared to housing is really fucking bad.
Well, have you seen there's a guy on TikTok that compares Toronto homes to private islands?
Yeah. Yeah, or like Waterloo and like surrounding areas.
Yeah, you can buy like a $1.3 million home in Markham, Ontario for the same price you can buy a like 7-kilometer wide island in the Bahamas with 6 houses. Like,
Yeah. Or the one I've seen is like Southern Ontario to like just south of the border, equivalent house, same size
like
city
4
in the
minutes away.
US.
Yeah,
Like 4 minutes.
just
Yeah.
across the river in Windsor from
Yeah.
wherever.
And it's like a quarter of the price.
Yeah.
So, I mean, get fucked. Or you could buy like a mansion in South America for the price of a attached 3-bedroom
You want to do
townhouse.
you want to like finally pull the trigger on like weird Mexican sex cult commune.
Pull the trigger. We haven't talked about it.
Have we not? I feel like we have. Like, okay, so here's the thing. You always see these fucking like edgy socialist kids on Tumblr. Is Tumblr still a thing? Being like, oh, we should all start a commune, right? How many of those people do you think would actually go through with it?
None of them.
No. Not start the commune, but like if they were invited to a commune, how many would go through it?
Every single one.
25% maybe?
Every single one that has either a trust fund or is already homeless and couch surfing.
Which, with the state of the housing market, is getting more and more.
Yeah, someone that either has extreme stability or none.
Well, I'm kind of feeling like if we took the initiative and started it, we could get a ton of free labor.
You're just describing cults.
Like, no, I started this by saying weird Mexican sex cult.
Okay.
So I don't know what you're talking
Where
about.
does the Mexican and sex part come in?
In Mexico,
Okay. Why do you think this would work better in Mexico?
cheaper land, less laws,
Um,
less oversight from the U.S. or Canadian governments.
I feel like you're gonna have more oversight and not from governments, more so from like a
okay,
local Christian militia.
South America then.
Not better.
Okay, Honduras.
You're better off just having the commune in fucking Canada, because as long as you pay your property tax, nobody's gonna bother you.
Yeah, but property tax is too high.
We have plenty of communes in this province, and they are doing fine.
They are, but they're also religious communes.
What's the difference?
You know what we should do? Because
Sex is my religion.
the whole the reason why Hutterites, which is who you're talking about, work is because they believe in a higher power to the point where they need to provide to the commune, not for their own self-interest, but for the interest of like their salvation, right?
Right.
So if you have a bunch of just heathens, the reason why like cults work is because they're brainwashed into thinking like that their leader is like the is like divine or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't think you can just have a bunch of friends that have a commune. I don't think it'll work.
Anarchist communes tend to tear themselves apart.
That's what I said. That's what I mean. It's like I don't think it'll
The
work.
foundation is independence.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So how do we display control over our commune? And I feel like if we did it in like the Honduran jungle, we could have force. This sounds rapey. It's not supposed to be rapey. I've dumped
just cut to the Always Sunny clip with Mac and Dennis.
because of the
Like,
implication they can't leave Honduras.
Because of the implications.
Do you know that Henry Ford
Mm-hmm.
had a 20,000 square kilometer city? I don't think it was 20,000
You're
square.
going to say that's monstrous.
2,000 square kilometer. That even sounds large.
That's still very large. Yeah.
200 square kilometer city in the Brazilian rainforest called Fordlandia
Okay.
with like 20,000 citizens.
And?
It ended up in a massive riot and everyone was killed and burnt down.
Was this true or is this lore?
No, this is real. Google it.
This Ford lore.
And the water tower that said Fordlandia still stands today, and they give tours to it.
Awesome.
So Ford wanted to he had what do you call it? Integrated, where you own the means of production. You own every supply chain. What is it called?
Vertically integrated.
Sorry?
Vertically integrated.
Vertical integration. There you go. Thank you, Tyler. So he had vertically integrated everything. He owned the steel plants, and he owned everything except the rubber plantations.
Right.
Was the only thing he didn't own.
That was owned by some other white guy.
So he wanted to
Goodyear.
own the rubber plantations. So he made his own rubber plantation in Brazil,
Right.
in the jungle, with a sympathetic Brazilian government that helped him do it.
Well, quote unquote sympathetic, aka bribed.
And they wanted, and so he basically made a little American town in the jungle, where it was like they had a square dancing hall, and shit like that. But he thought later in life he was like, he wouldn't drink or smoke or anything because he thought like vices were like broke. That was like the degradation of like the American people, was shit like that.
Classic fascist Ford.
So he banned drinking, swearing, smoking, and sex, or like even having people in your house that weren't women in your house that weren't your wife.
Right. Unaccompanied women.
On this company town essentially.
Yeah.
To the point where the detractors made another city like a kilometer away, just filled with brothels and bars where like people would go.
It's the Winkler-Morden debate.
Literally. And it's a crazy story, and it ended up with a full-on rebellion.
Yeah.
Where they like burned down a bunch of buildings, starting with the square dancing hall, and then I think people died or something. I don't think it was like a lot, but I think it was like it was a violent whatever that lasted like days, and then they just abandoned the project, and the Brazilian government like bought the land back at a steep discount, and then like just dipped, and he just got out of there. And I think like he died never actually even visiting it.
Right.
But
that this is not even the worst tragedy that happened in the pursuit of rubber.
No, not even close.
Like
King Leopold's knocking.
Leopold's got that
Yeah.
one, but it was the same idea.
And but I guess like because he had spent, I think, scaled for inflation, like $500 million just burnt away on this.
Sounds like something Musk would do.
And he's quoted, I think, as saying that, like, you know, towards the end of his life, he started thinking about legacy.
Yeah.
And this was going to be like, he was going to make the perfect city.
Right.
And he failed so hard and then, like, died.
It's a perfect example of capitalists being like, I understand how the world works, and then they implement their worldview, and it doesn't work because their worldview only works for them.
He famously introduced the 8-hour workday.
Right.
So he did that there as well.
Well, I mean, the 8-hour workday was accomplished by fucking violent rebellion by coal miners.
No, that's a myth.
Okay.
There were no unions involved. But he tried to introduce that at this Fordlandia as well. But what he didn't know was the concept of like siestas, where you would take a 4-hour work break in the day. You'd work like 6 a.m. to 10, take a break for 4 hours, and then come back after the sun was going down because it was too hot during the day.
Yeah, 10 to 2, too fucking hot.
Yeah, but he didn't. But so they enforced 8-hour days, so people were like passing out and shit. And the Brazilian workers there were like, "What the fuck are we doing?" And then I think a bunch of them got like malaria or something, and like it was
all the white people would have died. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a whole thing. But like they had to have like hospitals and hotels and grocery stores and all this shit. So it was literally like, super cool. I had never even heard of it before. Yeah. I guess they don't really include that in those autobiographies. Like
nobody canceling Ford for this.
Yeah, but
I feel like
crazy.
I feel like if it was 50 years ago, Musk would have a company town in California.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to make one in Texas, isn't he?
He kind of already has one, but like
I think there's a lot of misinformation about that though. I think it's just like it's so like his factory is so big, you need amenities.
Right. No, it's like Google, Apple, all these like big companies.
It's like these Chinese like towns where people are like, look, they're in a fucking slave town, but really it's just because
it's a Foxconn factory where they just like have apartments on site because they work so much.
Yeah. Which is a different argument.
That's
whether,
different
whether or
problem
not
entirely.
that's good, but like that's not what they're saying it is.
I mean,
right?
they still work less hours than you, so it's fine.
Yeah, I heard like the average American works more than a medieval peasant.
Yeah, the average Chinese person works, I think, 40-50% more than the average American.
How do you work 50% more than 18 hours a day?
You just work 25 hours a day, obviously.
Obviously.
I think the standard is 6 days a week, 10 hours a day.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I wish I could work those numbers.
But it's not in a factory. You
Yeah.
couldn't. I don't think you could survive 10 hours, 6 days a week on a fucking production line.
Probably not.
That's brutal.
Not that I would want to.
Brutal.
I guess they don't want to either.
No.
But
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a whole discussion in and of itself. Like, is there freedom in that system, right? It's like, wow, you are free to not have a job and starve to death. Thank you.
I love eating.
You don't actually.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking. That you were thinking of drinking.
Right, I was. So on that note, we're going to take a second shot here as we take the
He looks longingly at his glass.
quarter. Because if we ever take a shot on the show that's under 40%, we always take a second one.
Dinner.
Bitter.
Chase it with stronger brandy.
So, is there anything that we've talked about today that now that you're under
No.
the influence of alcohol, you would have changed your mind on?
I think we should. I think firebombing should be a part of the police repertoire, and every cop should be required to drive around with a fully primed and ready to go firebomb in their trunk.
No, I disagree with that. I think every teacher should have a firebomb
In their desk.
in their desk, yeah, and their
'cause
filing cabinet.
every cop car with a firebomb in it, this will never go wrong.
That's every firebomb. Hold on. I'm
Every
trying to, like-
helicopter needs bombs.
There was the famous quote from I forget who, it was like the governor of Canada or whatever, saying like every bison dead is an Indian. Sorry, their words, not mine. Like starved or whatever.
Yeah.
I was trying to take that saying into like every firebomb is a criminal, like taken off the streets or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have not been very coherent this episode.
That's
and,
okay.
it's okay. Sometimes you have a bad episode. Sometimes you just have a throwaway filler episode, and this was one of them.
Yeah,
So,
well, ironically, we're the most busy on the business front that we've ever been, and like
We can't talk about
the
any
most
of it.
awesome shit is happening. Like
Yeah.
I've got so much amazing shit that's happening.
We're gonna have like
Yeah.
5 great episodes in a row, and we can talk about all this, where it's just straight business.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very soon, like within the month. So
Well, for your business, yeah, but
yeah.
my stuff, I don't know. If
I got
it's
But
gonna
I
be
got
soon.
2 things I need to talk about that I can't talk about.
Wow.
So
Two?
anyway, 2. Alcohol Beyond This Point is the show that this is named. This was episode 115. Follow us, please. If you're listening to a place where you can leave ratings, please leave a 5-star rating. It really helps the channel. If you're listening on a place where you can leave a comment, namely Spotify and YouTube, if you could comment where you're listening from, that would be awesome. It really helps us because I get some data from demographics, but then I get like comments where it like doesn't match the demographic data, and I'm like, I'm really curious where people are listening from.
VPNs, baby.
And yeah, exactly, VPNs. But if anything, just go listen to episode 49 because it was banned for fucking spreading misinformation. So,
And tell me what this says.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't 2 podcasters talking business. This is 2 business guys trying to podcast.